this meeting of the Board of Adjustment to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
John Moreland,
Here.
Owen Curley,
Here.
Alexi Gonzalez,
Here.
Jeff Trular,
Here.
Todd Smith,
Here.
Jennifer Williams,
Here.
Matt Metz.
Here.
Thank you. The Board of Adjustment meetings are quasi-judicial in nature. All decisions of the board will be based on competent, substantial evidence, including testimony provided in this meeting. Any person who is not an applicant or agent who wishes to speak will need to fill out a speaker's card located on the side table by the door and turn them into the clerk. Each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak on each item once we open the public hearing. Please refrain from speaking from the audience, and applause or cheering will not be allowed. And lastly, please silence your cell phones. Approval of minutes. It doesn't appear that we have minutes to approve this week. Any correspondence outside public speaking cards?
No, and no correspondence.
Okay. And with no cases of old business, let's move on to new business. Can we call the first case, please?
Board calls BOA 23-100-021, property address 194 St. George Court. Motion to consider 34-336 E1C1 for a front yard setback of 17.8 feet in lieu of 25 feet minimum. 34-336 E1C3 for a rear yard setback of 26.5 feet in lieu of 30 feet minimum. 34-336 E1E for lot coverage of 45% in lieu of 35% maximum. And 34-336 E1G for an accessory structure setback of 1 foot along the eastern property line in lieu of 5 feet minimum to allow for the construction of a new detached accessory structure rectifying existing nonconformities and a new addition to the rear of an existing single-family dwelling.
Thank you. As a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have ex parte communication on this item?
I have none. I've had none.
I've had none.
Had none.
None.
I've had none.
And I've had none. Would the applicant or agent please come forward to be sworn in and give your testimony?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please each state your name and address.
Jeannie Novak, 194 St. George Court, Jacksonville Beach, 32250.
Matt Hanson, 194 St. George Court, Jacks Beach, 32250.
Thank you. Can you tell us the nature of the hardship at your property?
So with the property, we are actually we're staying within the existing setbacks. The cul-de-sac was done in 1984, so the current setbacks of our home are with what we're staying within. It is 17.8 on the front and 26, I think you said 0.4 on the rear. The only thing we're doing on the front, we have a bay window. We're just squaring it off. So it's just those tiny corners, those little triangles that are the variance on both the front and the back. There's one set of bay windows on the front, one on the back. And then on the rear, there's an impervious surface that is currently a hardscape and a deck. We would like to add an addition, a small addition, 9 feet, that extends 9 feet. It does not, the setback for that addition will still be greater than the existing setback of the home. The variance for that is just 1 foot on the side of the deck to stay even with the home. So it's 9 feet by 1 foot, approximately, the variance in the back. And we're actually reducing the lot coverage because we're putting in a sun deck on the existing pool. So the lot coverage will actually be reduced. And we're staying within the original setbacks of the cul-de-sac, which are all unique.
You said you're putting in a sun deck. Is that on our proposed site plan? There's a shaded area that says new pergola. That's what you're...
No, so that's the sun shelf. So, in the new pergola, the setback for the new pergola, the existing concrete does extend to within almost 6 inches of the property line. So,
Is pergola an open air structure?
yes.
And you plan to continue to be an open air structure?
Yes. Yeah. And the neighbor to the east of us, which is, if you're looking at the site plan on the left, I actually have a photo of her backyard, and there's no, she has trees right there, so it wouldn't affect her at all. We've talked with her about it.
Through the chair, to kind of address your question, so basically this portion of the pool will be expanded, so that'll reduce the lot coverage by that amount right there.
And I have one question, if I could ask Christian of you, but just understanding on page 2, I'm just trying to understand, the existing home was constructed prior to the home is not conforming and the lot coverage currently at 55.79. I'm trying to understand how that ties back to a request of 45 and we're reducing lot coverage.
Is that because of the pool? The pool accounted for that many percentage of square footage?
So the paragraph below says room reduction of 0.48%.
Yeah, so did they, it says total pervious 44.69.
Correct, I'm just reading the notes from the staff,
Okay.
staff notes, those are staff analysis notes, I was trying to understand that comment.
Is that 55.79 the percentage of the lot area for a conforming lot?
Is that what I'm trying to do, the calculation, what would be a conforming lot, is that how you're using that terminology?
There was a page that showed what the lot coverage calculations are under the new versus the old, and it shows the difference is, it's currently 55.79, and it's going to change to 55.31 for impervious.
It's going to change to 55?
It's less impervious than it was.
Right, but their request is for 45%.
The request should be for, sorry, for,
Yeah,
this is what we turned in,
Correct.
so, yeah.
Just a staff analysis note.
Was it just a typo in the,
That's what I'm guessing, let me just look
it's
through this real
45
quick.
and 55%? It's a staggering difference, and I couldn't figure out where that extra 10% was coming from in the changes that they were making. I don't think it would come from just adding that little half moon section to
No,
the.
that's the 0.48%, that's the
Yeah.
change there.
Where the pergola's gonna go, there's already a concrete slab there.
Yes, the concrete slab, I have a photo on my phone if you wanna see it, but the concrete slab is very large.
What was there before?
I'm sorry?
What was there before?
The concrete slab has been there, I think, for years. There's a pool there, so it looks original. Right now it's bright orange chipped with, you know, it's been there a long time.
And you purchased the home in 2022
We purchased it last year.
and have made no,
No, we haven't done anything.
Changes to the
Yeah, no.
Through the chair, I think it's just a typo.
That makes sense to be typo, go ahead.
Because it would have been 55.31 as opposed to 45, which, because I referenced the actual lot coverage in the report, so I think you're right, it was just a typo on our part. The intent is that it's actually going down, we're not adding any additional lot coverage.
How much is it going down?
About 0.5%. It's gonna be virtually the same, it's what's been there for, at least as far back as I could see.
so skipping ahead slightly, when a motion is made on this item, should whoever makes the motion specifically mention that it would be for 55%?
Absolutely.
So, okay. If that's what's decided.
Next one. Motions for 55, 45, where's the?
Their request is for
45.
55. The 45% that we're seeing in the staff report and on the agenda is a typo, right, Christian?
Right, yeah, the lot's at 55 and some change, and when they're done, it'll be 55 and slightly less change.
So the question is, was it posted at 45 for notification?
That's a good question.
This would be those for the posting.
While we wait for Christian, does anybody on the board have any additional questions of the applicant?
Have you spoken to your neighbors?
Yes.
And what was their response?
So the only neighbor who it really affects is the neighbor who's closest to the pergola, Claudia. She is fine with it. There's a large tree that we've actually trimmed back in her yard that covers that whole pergola area. So we trimmed the tree back on our side of the lot, and she asked us to trim it on her side as well. So she was fine with it, and we're also replacing the fence on our neighbors' properties.
And I have one question, touching back to my question earlier, would you be okay if we amended this to an open air structure instead of just a structure as a?
Yes, well, that's fine.
Through the chair, so it was advertised at 45%.
I don't think we can act on this, and can we do that?
I mean, in abundance of caution, it would probably be something you'd want to defer until we can renotice and re-advertise it. But, I mean, I think in this case, it's basically an existing condition, so it's not actually increasing anything, but to be 100% cautious, that would probably be the best course of action.
To defer it for
Um,
re-advertising.
Let me hit another calendar. We need, well, I guess it'll be if I need to advertise it. I would say the 21st would be safe so we can meet the advertising and notice requirements.
21st of June?
Yeah. The next one's June 6th, and I don't think we'll be able to get everything to the paper and published in time, because we've already lost this week, basically, because the ads have to be on Monday.
So it's way after the 21st of June.
Just to understand, what is on this page with the proposed where it shows total pervious 44 point, non-pervious, okay, never mind, read back, let's go back. Impervious and pervious backwards.
So just to sum up, for the, your request is for 55%, correct?
Yes,
So it was communicated to us and it was publicly noticed that your request was only for 45%. And so because of that error, because the public was not made aware of the actual request and it's actually greater than what was advertised, just to be safe, we are, I think, heading toward the direction of deferring your case until the next meeting after it can be re-noticed, just to ensure that neighbors or anybody in the public near your house, anywhere near you, has the opportunity to come and give feedback on it, and that they would be aware of what the actual request is. Because 10% is a fairly big difference. So do you have any, assuming that you would like to try to get approved for 55% versus the 45% as advertised?
you know, I thought it was 55 because it's the existing is, 55, almost 56, so we were coming down in the impervious surface. So just exactly how we turned it in is what you were looking for.
Right, so in order to, for us to evaluate your request at 55%, we will have to renotice it and get you back on the agenda for June 21st at the earliest?
Yes.
Okay, which is
So if it
2
was
meetings from now.
Okay.
So it could be later than that?
Would it potentially
It
be
would be
later?
great if it could be done because we have contractors ready to.
If we make an amendment for the next meeting, I mean, I know we have 6 on the agenda, but.
No, I don't think we can get it to the paper in time to meet the publication deadlines. The 21st is going to be see it being any later than that. I think we're gonna miss the notice requirements by about a week right now.
Okay, well, let's plan to, do I hear a motion to?
I have a question, quick point. Christian, is there any record of a previous variance when they did this much coverage and had this concrete that close to the property line?
I think it was because it was built before the LDC was adopted.
Yeah, there's no previous variance for the lot coverage, but the house was constructed in the 80s. As far back as I could find on the aerials, it's been the same way, which is 2004. But I have no record of when that stuff was put in, prior to their ownership at least.
Okay, I think, unless there are any other questions for the applicants, or if the applicants have any other comments to make, I think we should open the public hearing before we refer it to permit.
Yes, there are people that want to speak.
Okay, anybody else have questions of the applicant? Okay, you can be seated for now.
Thank you.
And thank you for bearing with us through that, and I will now open the public hearing. Can you read the first speaker's card?
We have 2 speaker cards, Ron May, 193 St. George Court, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. He does not wish to speak, and he is opposed. And Susan Hartman, same address, does not wish to speak, and is opposed. And just in full disclosure and fairness, Ron is my financial advisor, so I just wanted to disclose that. I haven't talked to him about this, but just want to let you know.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who has not filled out a speaker's card who wishes to speak on this item? And if so, please fill out a card before you leave. Okay. And both of the folks who filled out a card still do not wish to speak.
I would like to speak.
All right, then you may come up and be sworn in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your name and address.
Ron May, 193 St. George Court. I wasn't aware that they weren't going to add in the front of the house. We've been living in the beach since 1972. I lived in Atlantic Beach, Neptune Beach, Jacks Beach all my life, pretty much. And we were going to buy houses in Atlantic Beach, but we've watched, and growing up in Southern Marina, what they've done to the lots, making them 50 foot, but or splitting and putting 2 houses on them. That's why we bought in South End of Jacks Beach, because it's not going on down there so much, and we're very happy about that and our lot size. I didn't understand that there wasn't going to be an addition put on the front of the house, and that's my fault for not coming to look at the survey to see that. And as long as I will reverse my opposed position for the fact that you're not doing anything to the front of the house, making the lot smaller, tearing it down, and putting a duplex there. So I'm happy with that. And that's just all I want to say about that is, if they're putting something on the back, pergola, they're okay with the neighbor to the left, I'm fine with it. You can reverse my vote.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
And this is actually exactly what we're doing.
Any other?
She agrees with me.
All right, if there's no one else who wishes to speak, I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to postpone BOA 23-100021 till June 21st of 2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I think if we put them noted, I think it should be pushed to an open air structure. We've talked in the past on these structures, we make open air. When it comes back through us, when it comes back,
So it would be conditioned.
to an open air structure, so we don't build a garage there or something.
Right, right.
But it's not, but it seems.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
John Moreland,
Yes.
Owen Curley,
Yes.
Jeff Trular,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
Alexi Gonzalez.
Yes. Your request has been postponed until June 21st. Can we call the next case, please?
Board calls BOA 23-100031, property address 902 Second Avenue North. Motion to consider 34-339E3C1 for a front yard setback of 17.3 feet in lieu of 20 feet minimum. 34-339E3C2 for a side yard setback of 6.8 feet in lieu of 10 feet minimum along the western property line. 34-339E3C3 for a rear yard setback of 4.9 feet in lieu of 30 feet minimum, and 34-377 for 2 parking spaces in lieu of 4 parking spaces minimum at a 2-unit multifamily property to allow for the conversion of existing garage into an efficiency apartment.
Thank you. As a reminder, each member of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak when we open the public hearing. Does any board member have ex parte communication on this item?
I've had none. I've had none.
I've had none.
None.
I've had none.
And I've had none. Would the applicant please be sworn in to give your testimony?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Whitney Page Toll, and my address is 4213 Second Street South in Jacksonville, Florida.
Thank you. Can you tell us the hardship at your property?
Yes, so this is an investment property that I own in Jacksonville Beach, and it's a very, very old home. It was built, I believe, in like the 40s. It's just a little 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. So when I bought the home a couple of years ago, it came with the hardships that are there. So the reason I bought the property is because it was multifamily, and there was a detached garage that's on a corner lot. And it was my hopes to turn the detached garage into a mother-in-law suite. So to do that, obviously, I would need a variance, and just due to the nature of the home and the way it's already set up, I've never done this before, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Public speaking is hard. I'm fine with that. This is. So I guess what I'm asking today is for the setbacks to be approved, because it would be a 2-unit, but they will require a carport, which we've built, and then just the strip driveway allowing for the 2-car parking.
Can you share with me just where the parking is going to exist? I'm trying to understand a little bit. Maybe
Yeah,
Krishna-
I-
I'm
Yes,
trying to
sir.
understand that.
This is currently there's no paid parking at all, so they're gonna be putting in these room strips here, and then they go underneath the carport that they constructed, so there'll be double stack parking there.
Which will fit how many vehicles?
2, sorry.
On the, just want to get a question, on the location that it's attached before the package, why is that not available parking? It looks like it's hardscape already.
It
Right,
was.
right here,
Well, this,
yeah, yes, well, actually, this was a garage, so this was parking, so there were 2 spaces in here. This is actually, okay, we get a little work and read it myself.
I thought I see 2 there.
For lot coverage reasons, we were told to tear that up, the existing driveway.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so, okay, that's what it was.
So it's the original, or the first survey and then the second one.
This project started basically as a single-family property, which is a maximum lot coverage of 35%, and the goal was to convert that into basically a accessory unit, but they hadn't looked at it as a multifamily when they first came in for permitting, so it was like an accessory structure, and they were tied to that 35% lot coverage. So when they built the carport, because they were losing the garage, that bumped them over lot coverage with driveway.
Okay.
And then when she came in to talk to me, I said, well, this can be a full dwelling, not just like a guest room, because it is multifamily. The lot coverage goes to 65% at that point, but the damage had been done at that point, basically. And so the carport was there, and the structural difference between the two is basically that she can have a full bathroom and a kitchen in this as a separate dwelling versus just a bedroom and a half bath. But yeah, it got kind of sideways before I sat down with her and kind of figured out what was trying to happen and how to fix it. So in essence, there's as much parking as there was, because I don't think the garage had 1 door, right? It wasn't even a full, yeah, so the garage only had 1 parking space in it anyway.
But there's two spots for the structure on the rear of the property, I guess, the south of the property. Yes,
Right.
ma'am. Is there any parking for the larger structure on the property?
No, that's what the reduction from 4 to 2 is basically.
So anybody who lives on this property in either of those structures would have to park in those,
Right. So it's a
and that gravel strip up at the top, is
That
that
was
used?
for parking, that was there when we bought the house, there's like a gravel area, but then there's
I think it's actually in the right of way.
right there.
Right.
That's what-
Yeah, it was beyond the
property line,
bounds
segment
of the
right away.
property line, but
Yeah, don't go by that property line, it's off.
Okay,
on the-
that's
on
what
the
I'm
back.
trying to
Yeah.
understand.
You'll look, yeah, here, so the sidewalk is right at the edge of the property, and that gravel area is up there. So it's outside the property line.
is there,
So that gravel area is outside the property,
Right, it's on the right of way.
the right of way, it's not, they can't constitute parking spaces.
yeah, I guess I'm just having a hard time figuring out how 2 parking spaces would be enough for 2 separate.
Maybe you can
units.
help us and explain where these people are gonna park their cars.
Well, ideally, it would be one family. I'm not looking to do any short-term VRBOing, anything of that nature, but just maximizing my 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom rental to a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom rental. And what I've kind of found, in most cases, I have other rentals here at the beach, that most families have 2 cars. So I wouldn't be renting it to 2 separate people. It would really be something ideal maybe for somebody who had an older parent who wanted to live with them, or maybe, I don't know, a family whose child's going to UNF and they wanna, stay here, or even somebody who works from home, which is kind of the world we're living in still right now, where a lot of people, just kind of want that extra space. When I bought it, the garage was completely dilapidated, so we've spent a ton of time and money just bringing it back up, making it safe, making it not an eyesore, just with like the uniqueness of this cute little beach cottage.
Do the chair if it helps, I try to refresh my memory. This space, basically where the driveway was between the garage itself and the street, is only 12 feet deep, give or take. So it wasn't technically a legal parking space anyway, originally. The only conforming legal space would have been in the garage itself. With the carport, since you can pull all the way through, the space from the edge of the carport to the property line is 2 legal parking spaces. So even though this was paved, it wouldn't have counted for the calculation anyway.
Any other questions of the applicant?
This is my question, but people have been parking in that right of way in historic history, is that what I'm understanding?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I just want to get myself, and again, I hear what you're saying about you want it one family, but we are approving this as a multiple family, we're looking at the approval, not the persons living inside of
Specific
it.
case, right, so we have to factor in, down the road, if you sell it to somebody who
Sure.
does wanna rent it out,
Gotcha.
there might be, 4 to 6 cars on the property, we need to factor that in. Any other questions?
No, it's,
Okay, you can be seated for now, and I will open the public hearing. Thank you. Do we have any speakers cards?
No speakers cards and no correspondence.
Is there anyone in the audience who has not filled out a speaker's card who wishes to speak on this item? And if so, please fill one out before you leave. Hearing none, I will now close the public hearing and bring the item back to the board for discussion. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve BOA 23-100031. Based on the testimony and evidence provided, the request is met all the standards for variance as outlined in section 34-286 of the Land Development Code.
second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Reading through the other part of the staff analysis, looking at the recognition of historic significance, I was wondering if maybe okay with us about granting this variance to the structure itself. So this variance is not carried forward in case the structure is ever to change. And we would be granting multifamily with 2 parking spots in perpetuity. So that's another comment I had on it. But I do recognize the historic side, and there is parking there, and it's been like that since, we don't know, land a long time. People can park closer to the house and all over the south side, so that's one comment I had.
You wanna
You can ask
do
me
that?
anyway,
No, I'm happy to do it.
if you don't mind.
I make a motion to amend the motion for BOA 23-100031 so that the approved variance attaches to the current structures that are on the lot and not any future structures.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the existing motion. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend the existing motion?
I think it's a good idea. We'll shut up.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote on amending the motion?
Owen Curley,
Yes.
Jeff Trular,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
John Moreland,
Yes.
Lexi Gonzalez.
Yes. Okay, so the motion on the floor is now to approve the request as conditioned. Is there any discussion on the motion as amended? Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Owen Curley,
Yes.
Jeff Trular,
Yes.
Todd Smith,
Yes.
John Moreland,
Yes.
Lexi Gonzalez.
Yes. Your motion has been, your request has been approved as amended.
Thank you all so much, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, moving
Okay, that's
on.
the store side.
Moving on to the planning department report.
Alrighty, so, your next meeting is gonna be June 6th, and we actually have 7 cases. It turns out that, you may recall, there was a gentleman who was requesting to put 2 stories onto his office building back in January. We gave him 6 months, so that's actually coming back up, as old business, and we've got 6 regular cases, so it'll be a long meeting.
Will you be bringing snacks?
I will talk to the director to see if we have some budget for that. Also, again, we have our joint workshop with the other boards on Wednesday, the 31st, 6 p.m. Our first public meeting with the general citizens is going to be tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and then the following week on the 24th, I think, will be with business owners. So we're doing kind of the same rounds we did last time. I was explaining earlier, they're going to have all the kind of problems or areas of concern that have been identified through all the meetings and talking with council, and then proposed kind of general solutions. Because obviously we haven't drafted anything, we kind of the concepts, and then they're going to workshop that and let people come up and vote with stickers on what ideas they like the best, so we can kind of gauge, because there's multiple ways to solve the same problem, so kind of gauge the direction we want to go in to fix some of the issues that we've identified. So I think it'll be a productive meeting, and I hope you guys can come. And the other thing we have is we have created a new position, and we have a new planner, and that gentleman is Nevsky over here. This is his 3rd day on the job, so he will probably be shadowing me for a while, and may fill in when I'm not here for meetings, and hopefully at some point actually take over either PC or BOA, so you will see a lot more of him. So he comes to us from DeLand. He lives down in Palm Coast currently, so he's worked with historic preservation, he's worked with variances and so many, he's got a lot of experience, so we're excited. I'm excited, because this is like, finally I can have some time to do other work for a change, so.
Welcome, it's great to have you.
And that's all I had.
Okay, courtesy of the floor to visitors. Okay, hearing no visitors, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.